In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a fabric background in Photoshop quickly and easily using a simple texture workflow that gives you a clean, realistic fabric-like result. This is a great technique if you want to create a subtle canvas, cloth, or textile background for posters, thumbnails, social media graphics, product mockups, or any design that needs a soft textured look instead of a flat, solid color. The best part is that this method is beginner-friendly, fast to make, and gives you full control over the final texture. If this tutorial helps, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Photoshop tips, tricks, and easy design tutorials. Alright, let's jump in. First, open Photoshop and create a new document. You can use any size you want depending on your project, but for a background texture, a standard square or wide canvas works really well. Once your new file is open, the first thing you want to do is fill the document with a base color. For a fabric style background, light grey, warm beige, soft cream, or any muted neutral tone usually works best. This base color is important because it becomes the foundation of the texture, and it helps the final result look more natural and fabric-like instead of overly digital. After setting your base color, the next step is to add some noise. Go up to the filter menu, then choose noise, and then click add noise. This step is what starts building the tiny grain that fabric textures are known for. When the settings box opens, keep the amount somewhere around 5 to 10%. You do not want to overdo it because too much noise can make the texture look rough and messy instead of soft and woven. Make sure Gaussian is selected and also turn on monochromatic. Gaussian helps distribute the noise more naturally, and monochromatic keeps the texture from picking up unwanted color variation. Once you're happy with the settings, click OK. Now that the image has some grain, the next step is to soften it slightly. Go back to the filter menu, then choose Blur, and then click Gaussian Blur. This is a very important part of the process because it helps the noisy grain blend together into a more organic texture. Set the blur amount to around 0.5 to 1 pixel. Even though that seems small, it makes a big difference. The goal is not to erase the texture, but to smooth it just enough so it feels more like woven fabric and less like static. After setting the blur amount, click OK. At this point, your background already has a subtle textured base, but to really make it look like fabric, we need to add a more defined surface pattern. To do that, go to Filter again, and this time open Filter Gallery. Inside Filter Gallery, look for the Texturizer option. If you do not see it right away, you may need to browse through the available filter categories. Once you open Texturizer, choose the texture setting called Canvas. This is the key setting that gives the image that fabric or cloth-like finish. Next, adjust the scaling setting to around 100. This controls how large the texture pattern appears across the document. A value around 100 usually gives a nice balanced look without making the weave too obvious or too tiny. Then set the relief to somewhere between 2 and 4. Relief controls how strong and raised the texture appears, and a low setting works best for a clean fabric background. If you push it too high, the effect can become too harsh and start looking more like rough paper or stone instead of fabric. Once your settings look good, click OK to apply the effect. And just like that, you've created a simple fabric background in Photoshop using a fast and effective texture method. The result should now have a soft woven feel that works really well as a subtle background for design projects. If you want, you can always take it one step further by duplicating the layer, lowering the opacity, or adding a very slight color overlay to match your brand or design theme. You can also experiment with different base colors because beige will give you a warm fabric look, while gray can feel more modern and neutral. If the fabric texture feels too strong, you can always undo and reduce the noise amount, lower the blur slightly, or decrease the relief in Texturizer. If it feels too flat, increase the relief just a little or raise the noise amount by a small percentage. The trick is to keep the texture subtle enough that it reads as fabric without distracting from whatever content you place on top of it. That balance is what makes this technique so useful for real-world design work. So there you have it. A quick and easy way to make a fabric background in Photoshop using a base color, noise, blur, and the Texturizer filter with a canvas effect. This is one of the easiest ways to create a realistic fabric style background without needing to search for stock textures or complex brushes. If this video helped you out, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next Photoshop tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.